President William Ruto has promised to work out a strategy to ensure that women stand an equal chance to sit at the highest decision-making table in the country. Speaking during the launch of the Women Governors Caucus G7 strategy in Nairobi, Ruto instructed UDA party chairperson Cecily Mbarire to ensure that the party has rules that would ensure that in future elections, a male presidential candidate fronted by the party has a woman as his running mate and vice versa. Safina Chengoma takes a look at this latest promise by the head of state and what it means for the political matrix in 2027.
It was during the launch of the Women Governors Caucus G7 strategy in Nairobi that President William Ruto sustained his commitment to ensure that the dream of achieving the elusive two-thirds gender rule in leadership is realized during his term in office.
It has been a back and forth for now over 10 years. I want to commit to the women of Kenya that this time round, we will make sure that the two-thirds gender rule is attained.
Amidst ululation from the women leaders, Ruto would make yet another promise, working out a strategy to ensure that women stand an equal chance to sit at the highest decision-making table in the country.
When Rigiji and myself tukifika hapo mbele na tumepangana, tumekubaliana vile itaenda, we must also agree that going forward, if a man is a candidate for president in our party, the woman must be the runner.
This promise, if fulfilled, could disrupt the 2027 political matrix, a supposed gentleman's agreement that will see Ruto's deputy Rigathi Gachagua become his successor when he exits power. A pact that is now in a state of limbo, all courtesy of President Ruto's latest remarks. The future elections start with the 2027 general election, which, if President Ruto decides to defend his seat and fulfills his promise to women to have a female running mate, it would mean that his current deputy may not be in the equation and not be the second in command in the next government and vice versa. But how soon is soon? Will the women of Kenya have to wait for President William Ruto, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, or any leader within Kenya Kwanza to finalize their political pact before the promise is delivered?
I know there is a lot of calculus and mathematics.
The promise also comes against the backdrop of several unfulfilled pledges to women by the current regime. Key among them is the commitment to ensure that 50% of his cabinet, among other appointive positions, will be reserved for women, which he made in June 2022, less than 2 months to the general election.
We shall allocate 50% of all cabinet positions to the women of Kenya.
But in forming his government, Ruto included only 7 out of 22 cabinet secretaries, 4 slots shy of what was promised during his campaigns to become the 5th president. The 7 include Land CS Alice Wahome, Gender CS Aisha Jumwa, Trade CS Rebecca Miano, Soipan Tuya of the Ministry of Environment, Penina Malonza of the Ministry of East African Community, Susan Nakumicha, the CS for Health, and Florence Bore, Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection.
And I want to ask women leaders, I know you may want higher numbers, but we can do it, we can do it progressively. Let us get what we think is attainable now. You guys know what you need to do. We can then take it to the next level, and then take it to the next level, and finally get it to 50-50.
Though snail-paced, the journey to equality for women in leadership seems to be gaining momentum, if the election of 7 women to head counties is anything to go by.
We will be, all of us, in New York in the next 2 weeks, fundraising for support and getting technical support as well for each of the counties and also for the counties that have potential women leaders.
But I'd like to finally really thank you, not just for supporting the women and women leaders, because it's about the women at the grassroots. and the way you have moved to support the women at the grassroots, wale wadogo sana.
The launch of the Women Governors Caucus G7 strategy is just the beginning of the next phase of the transformational journey to ensure representation and inclusion of women in leadership in the 2027 general election and beyond. Safin Achieng Oma, Citizen TV.